Hello there and good morning. It looks like something out of Apocalypse Now as drivers sniff out and fight for every last drop of fuel they can get. As per usual, please like, subscribe and comment below. And when subscribing, please do press that little bell, but also select the all option, or you won't get any notifications when I publish a new video. Blood pressures are soaring out there as drivers queue up at the pumps, waiting to cram every last drop of fuel into their petrol tanks, petrol canisters and any old water bottle left lying about. And that last one is illegal, by the way, as the petrol might dissolve the bottle. Think about that in your car. And all this has led to flaring tempers, confrontation and in some cases violence. And no words calling for calm seem to be cutting through. Do not get between a driver and their motoring freedoms is the message. Because the car has probably bestowed more freedoms and equality across our society than any other single thing. It's given us the choice of where we go, how far we go, and most crucially, when we go. The car allows us to plan our lives around ourselves, not around other people's diktats about when, where and how we travel. You may not need your car every day, but it's there every day for you to just jump in and drive to where you want to go at that moment. There isn't a train or a bus or even a taxi sat right outside on your driveway ready to take you where you want to go at your whim. Without the car, van or motorbike, you're stuck at home reliant on other people to provide you with transport or locked into stout walking shoes and a bicycle. But the car is only a boon if it's got a full fuel tank or a topped-up battery. And anything that gets in the way of that will inevitably cause anger. If buses, trains and taxis were really superior forms of transport to the humble motor car, then guess what? Our roads would be empty. But they're not, because people choose the freedom the car gives them. Why haven't all these drivers just stayed at home, worked from home or got on the bus instead of chasing down fuel tankers in their droves? And that should be a big message to the powers that be. In our rush to net zero, proletarian car ownership will come under attack. Be in no doubt about that. And I'll just remind you what a House of Commons Science and Technology Committee said back in 2017. The government must bring forward the date of its proposed ban on the sales of new conventional cars and vans to 2035 at the latest and ensure that it covers hybrids too. And that's happening right now. 2030 is the new date, but the committee went on to say, although ultra-low emissions vehicles generate very little emissions during use, their manufacture generates substantial emissions. In the long term, widespread personal vehicle ownership therefore does not appear to be compatible with significant decarbonisation. The government should not aim to achieve emissions reductions simply by replacing existing vehicles with lower emissions versions. What they were saying is that mass production of cars for ordinary people like you and me to own is bad for the planet and that government should work to remove the car from the driveway. I'll repeat that important sentence. In the long term, widespread personal vehicle ownership therefore does not appear to be compatible with significant decarbonisation. All cars, whether they be petrol, diesel, hybrid or full battery or whatever, like hydrogen or solar powered, whatever their power source, manufacturing them takes up huge amounts of raw materials and energy. As the committee said, although ultra-low emissions vehicles generate very little emissions during use, their manufacture generates substantial emissions. And in the long term, it says, they have to go. So where are we going? But before I get onto that, I just want to say a massive thank you to all my super thanks, Patreon and PayPal supporters, as well as those that do buy a mug with my mug on it. Links in the descriptions box below. You really do help me keep the channel going. What that committee meant is that your car, however it's powered, has to end up on the scrap heap, and you'd better go and buy a wooden bicycle to replace it. And nothing I've seen so far will convince me that our government isn't going down this route. Our power grid would not sustain even a fraction of the demand to power battery-driven cars in bulk at the moment. I mean, we're even hearing talk of a 3-day week right now. And there appears to be a long-term policy of shutting down our power grid. Just look at where we are today. We're not building it up for the future, it seems. In a decade's time, you will not be able to buy a new petrol, diesel or hybrid car. And the ones still on the roads will find that ever longer journeys are required to get fuel for them. And without a massively upgraded power grid, where on earth is the electricity going to come from to fill up those car batteries every single day? Now, we are being assured that the grid will be able to manage. For example, speaking to Autocar in February, the National Grid's Project Director for Transport Decarbonisation, Graham Cooper, said, "By 2030 we will have 40 gigawatts of offshore wind power in the UK, which is an additional 30 gigawatts compared to today. We will need more smart consumption to support that, but the energy market will grow because we're electrifying more things such as cars. The government has a policy to ensure high power en route charging and has put £950 million of funding in place to make sure that every motorway service area in England will have adequate future-proof capacity for everyone to have clean transport." Sounds all well and good, but we're in the pickle we're in right now with energy because the wind hasn't been blowing and the sun has hidden itself away, and we barely have the fossil fuel capacity to step in. Now add your empty car batteries into that mix. So will the extra 30 gigawatts of wind power really help? But now I'll take you back to what the Science and Tech Committee was saying. They claim it's the manufacture of the cars as well as their use that damages the planet. And now we're talking about manufacturing the cars plus a whole electricity car charging system that will soak up even more of the Earth's resources. Instead of petrol distillation plants, delivery lorries and petrol stations, we'll have wind turbines and solar panels everywhere, with probably millions of miles of extra cabling taking more electricity to every lamppost and parking space in the land. And huge planet-stripping rare earth element mega batteries providing storage for when the wind doesn't blow. And then there's the continual replacement of those large car batteries every few years, millions of them. What I'm saying is it'll still mean digging into the earth and stripping stuff out of it. And there are serious questions about how much of it there really is out there. And listening to the Green lobby, which appears to be more Marxist than green, that now seems to be controlling our government, listening to them, I'm not sure this continued mining and digging is really what they want. Why do I get the feeling that electric cars will end up being for the wealthy and not for the rest of us? For the rest of us, it's get on your bike time to save the planet. But the government needs to take a long, hard look at what just the last couple of days, with only the threat of no fuel for their freedom-giving cars, has brought out in people. Let's hope the experts are correct when they say the fuel will be flowing again within days. And one final question. Why did Joe Biden leave behind trillions of dollars worth of lithium and other useful elements in Afghanistan for the Chinese to grab? Lithium that is a core component of a car battery. Makes you think it's not really that important, doesn't it? So what's your opinion on fuel shortages and electric cars? Please like and comment below.